This is KGW News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Drew Carney, and we're starting today's newscast with a look at some of this afternoon's top local headlines. The first is the latest in the murder trial of local romance novelist Nancy Crampton Brophy. After the defense rested its case on Wednesday, the state called in a rebuttal witness, Nancy's former cellmate, Andrea Jacobs. Crampton Brophy is charged with second-degree murder in the fatal shooting of her husband in 2018. The state says that Andrea Jacobs told detectives that Crampton Brophy told her she was just feet away from her husband when he was killed. The defense, though, is questioning the credibility of Jacobs as a witness because she's been charged in the past with fraud and identity theft. The NTSB and the FAA will investigate a helicopter crash that happened in Central Oregon just before 5:30 Wednesday evening. A witness sent us these pictures. It was a medical transport chopper that was trying to pick up a patient in Christmas Valley. The patient wasn't on board yet when the crash happened, but 4 crew members on board were hurt and were taken to a hospital in Bend. We haven't received any word about their condition. Last headline here is a look at the latest numbers from AAA for gas prices around here and also around the country. So let's start with the average price in Oregon. It's up to $5.13 a gallon right now. In Washington, we're at $5.18 a gallon. Both of those numbers are higher than the national average, which is really high itself at $4.59 a gallon. Experts predict gas prices will eventually hit $6 a gallon later this summer. And that's a look at some of today's local headlines. All right, Rod, I thought we were going to talk about the great-looking weekend ahead, but you actually have a travel alert.
I do. Now. Let's go up to the mountain now. We'll start with the fact that it is snowing up at Timberline. Of course, it's the one resort up on Mount Hood that continues to be open. You've got some skiers or boarders right there, and the snow has been coming down. And it's been persistent enough that we haven't had a chance to get temperatures to warm. So because of that, Highway 26 is still pretty snow-covered. They have a temperature of 31 degrees. That's, of course, right there at Government Camp. There would be right there's the road up to Timberline, which I'm assuming is snow covered as well. But just FYI, if your travel plans take you up over the Cascades, check conditions. If the snow showers give us a few breaks, the temperatures will bump up and ODOT will get those roads in good shape like that. But there's no guarantee that these snow showers showing up in white and kind of the pinkish tones here on the radar are going to give us much of a break, at least not in a couple of hours. They've been pretty consistent. Meanwhile, it's sun breaks and scattered showers in the valley, and the yellow dots represent some heavier showers. There's some heavier shower activity south of downtown Portland right now. The Rose City camera showing some breaks in the cloud cover. We're very cool for this time of the year. It's only 52. So a reminder, we do expect, at least in scattered locations, some hail showers this afternoon. And we also expect daytime highs to hold in the 50s. You're going to need that warm raincoat or jacket on for the remainder of today. Drew?
All right, we'll have more Rod coming up here in about 12 minutes. But right now, we want to get to some local election headlines. We start with this. 2 high-profile names in Oregon politics are endorsing Betsy Johnson for governor. Former Democratic Governor Ted Kulongoski and former Republican U.S. Senator Gordon Smith. They both sent out a joint statement saying they believe Johnson can get Oregon moving in the right direction. Betsy Johnson is running as an unaffiliated candidate. This week we found out her competition in the race, Democrat Tina Kotek and Republican Christine Drazen. Galen Etlin has more now on what could wind up being the most expensive race for governor the state has ever seen.
In the packed race for Oregon governor, 3 will remain in November. Democrat Tina Kotek on the left, moderate Betsy Johnson in the middle, running not affiliated with a party, and Republican Christine Drazen on the right.
It's a really powerful moment for Oregon.
Rebecca Tweed is a political consultant watching history unfold with women from 3 parties.
3 very strong women, very credible, very intelligent.
That's probably something that hasn't happened before.
No, it definitely has not happened before.
Multnomah County Chair Deborah Kafoury is part of the broader legacy in Oregon of women in leadership.
Brings some momentum to government.
Her mother, Gretchen Kafoury, was a trailblazer.
She wanted women to be in the room when it happened.
In the 70s, Gretchen joined a group of women pushing back against the City Club of Portland.
With a rolling pin in her hand, protesting the fact that women were not allowed in.
That 50-plus year policy was overturned, paving the way for women to lead.
It's been taken years and years and years of work.
Oregonians love voting for women.
Political analysts like Len Bergstein and Rebecca Tweed say November's gubernatorial race will likely be the most expensive in Oregon's history.
And a really interesting campaign to watch.
With 3 nominees spanning the political spectrum, these 3 women have their work cut out for them.
Everybody working together, we're going to win in November.
They'll have to earn swing votes and prove how they stand out.
It's time to lead our state in a new direction.
Only 2 of Oregon's 38 governors have been women, Barbara Roberts and Kate Brown, both Democrats. So now, this year,
No matter how the election turns out in November, we will have another woman in the room where it happens.
representation will grow. Galen Etlin, KGW News.
This was a big mistake. It was a huge mistake, and it's not one that I'm happy with at all.
Well, we're still waiting for primary ballots to be counted in Clackamas County, and County Chair Tootie Smith says she's frustrated about the ballot delays there that are putting the election results on hold right now across the state. So during an emergency meeting yesterday, County Clerk Sherry Hall, who's in charge of the county's elections office there, talked about the problem. Only 10,000 votes had actually been counted by election night in Clackamas County, which is really just a fraction of the ballots turned in. The problem stems from a printing issue affecting 2/3 of the ballots there. The barcodes don't work, so teams of bipartisan volunteers have had to duplicate the faulty ballots and then enter votes by hand. It's a time-consuming process, and critics are asking why Hall wasn't better prepared to address this issue. Oregon Secretary of State and the Clackamas County Chair are both calling the situation unacceptable.
To what degree do you take personal accountability for what happened?
I am the clerk, and it is my responsibility, and I absolutely don't like what happened, but it did happen, and so we had to come up with a solution.
As of yesterday, Clackamas County had received about 91,000 ballots, but more are expected to arrive in the mail. Hall says it'll take days or even weeks to get through all of them, but she is promising to meet the June 13th deadline. That's when all results in Oregon must be certified. For a complete look at all the latest election results, you can go to our website. We have all the information you need right there at KGW.com. All right, now let's get to the latest on COVID cases and hospitalizations in Oregon, because for the past few weeks, both of those numbers have been on the rise. State officials say that's because of Omicron subvariants. During a virtual press conference yesterday, Dr. Dean Seidlinger, who's Oregon's state epidemiologist, said infections and hospitalizations have doubled in recent weeks, but they're still well below what we saw during the peak of both Delta and Omicron. For now, Dr. Seidlinger says people need to be extra careful, especially those at high risk of severe illness.
Those with underlying medical conditions or who are immunocompromised should consider contacting their healthcare providers now to make a plan to get tested and receive treatment should they become ill.
Dr. Seidlinger also encouraged everyone to mask up indoors again, but he says he doesn't think the state will revive its mask mandate. All right, let's talk about something that's coming up tonight here on KGW. Our investigative team is going to take a closer look at Portland's homeless crisis with a brand new documentary called One Day. I had a chance to talk with investigative reporter Kyle Aboshi to find out a little bit more about how this documentary was made. All right, Kyle, first question for you today. The name One Day, obviously that has special meaning. I'll let you explain.
Right. Well, we had crews out for 24 hours filming the street level response to Portland's homeless crisis. We were in tents, we were in shelters, in RVs, in a hospital emergency room, riding on fire trucks. We really wanted to capture what life is like in a single day for those experiencing homelessness, and then also for those providing support to those people. It is round the clock, and as we learned, it's unsustainable.
So how is this different from what we've done in the past? Because we've done a lot of coverage on Portland's homeless crisis. You specifically have done a lot of coverage on it. How is this different?
It's different in the format, really. It's a documentary. So unlike a typical story where you shoot the beginning and then the end and you find the best pieces and you work this together as a nice little story, in this case, we worked chronologically. So where the day started, that was the beginning of our piece. Where it ended, that was the end. We didn't have much control there.
What you also didn't have control over was the fact that the day you picked to do this documentary also turned out to be the same day that President Biden flew into Portland.
That was a bit of a shock, to be honest with you. We had things kind of laid out where we expected to be, where we hoped to be, what we hoped to witness and capture. And then, sure enough, a few days before, we were told President Joe Biden would be coming in that particular day.
Right.
So we decided, instead of pushing things back, let's just roll with it. And so we kind of wrapped that into our documentary, and it is an interesting wrinkle, and I think you might be curious to see how it plays out in the day.
Well, I know that you're hoping our viewers learn something from tonight's 30-minute documentary. What did you learn?
It's always an eye-opening experience anytime you go out and you step inside someone's tent. That's their home or their RV. I think more than anything, you see these individual stories and you understand why this is so complex. Everybody has a unique set of challenges. One woman, for instance, she woke up in a shelter. She works at Rite Aid as a clerk. It's someone you interact with every day. You may not realize they're homeless or where they're sleeping. Another woman sleeps in her RV with her daughter, and they struggle to find a safe place to park at night. And just seeing that and beginning to understand the complexities involved, to me, that was a real eye-opener.
So big thanks to Kyle for giving us that sneak peek. And again, the documentary itself is called One Day. You can watch it tonight right here on KGW starting at 7 o'clock, or you can also stream it anytime on the KGW YouTube channel.